We are word on the street.
My favorite food truck at the fest? Nothing, because I never leave the fucking stage. I'm just filming all goddamn night.
Best food truck, there's no spot burger this year, so I'm gonna go with the good old Rev Tacos. Agreed, Rev Tacos.
I haven't had any food here, so I don't know. You tell me, what is it?
I think it's Kung Fu Hoagie. That's my vote.
I think it's the one that has beer right here, this monster tent, or this tent with beer.
There you go. So what's your favorite food truck here at the fest?
None. They all suck and overpriced. I'm not vegetarian or not vegan, so I picked some fries over there or some sandwich over there, but nothing special.
So what's your favorite food truck at the fest?
Kung Fu Hoagies, no question. I start off my day at the fest every day with one of their ramen bowls.
I think it's called Oink and Moo.
All right.
They had a nice brisket.
Honestly, I've kind of been avoiding the food.
My favorite food truck is and always will be A1 Concessions. They were our first food truck. He provides pizza and everything you can possibly need. And A1 will always be my first truck to work with us and always be my favorite.
Ice cream's always good. Yeah, snow cones. I fuck with snow cones.
Oink and Moo barbecue is really delicious. I don't know, I have to say, every time I leave there, I feel like a better man.
I broke my face during Tarn's Way about 2 or 3 years ago, and that one was pretty bad. Broke my nose in about 2 places and my hand in one.
During title fight, stage dive, fell to the bottom. Bodies were like raining on me. Like I broke my thumb, and I never did anything about it.
What's the worst show injury you ever got?
Mine would be a compiled injury of touring for like a lot of years straight and fucked my whole spine up. Back to the spinal surgery. So I'm going with that because no little stupid. I broke my ribs before and stuff like that, but none of that shit matters after that bullshit.
My worst show injury, actually, my nose ring. I can't take it out right now because years ago I was moshing. I got punched in the nose and the ball flew off the hoop, and eventually the hole where the hoop was kind of migrated over to the hole in my nose, and the skin actually fused around it. So I'm actually a cyborg now, which is kind of cool.
My arm got stuck between 2 people moving backwards and I was moving forwards. My elbow snapped and it's already been previously broken. So it broke again and it was miserable. It was a pretty horrible time.
I ended up twisting my ankle completely down the medial malleolus right to the floor, and both of my tendons pretty much almost snapped.
Worst show injury. Okay. Standing by the stage and I got spin kicked in the head by this dude named Dennis. I'll never forget it. He kicked me in the head, my head hit the speaker, and then I got up and I fell right back down and I woke up and I was just in the back, passed the fuck out. And then I think like after the show, I like threw up and everything. It was awful.
The worst show injury I ever got involved in, I already had my jaw broke fighting a Nazi at a previous show. And we got into a fight at a Hayfree show where we ended up outside down the street and I got my jaw rewired. So it's kind of a combination of 2 jaw breaks in about 4 weeks.
What's the worst show injury you ever got?
Man, I had a fractured skull.
My worst show injury, Asbury Park, I got punched by Stickman. I think it was during like Crown of Thorns or maybe Sub-Zero or something. I still have the jersey that I was wearing with the blood stains on it.
I only cause injuries. I never got one.
I'll say Vane tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah, and the Eyes of the Lord yesterday. Was very excited to see that band. Was excited to see Martyr. They kind of headlined.
Non-headlining band for me, I'll say toss-up between Risk It or Strength Approach.
I already seen them. Departed, hands down.
I'm looking forward to the Boys in Descent playing on Sunday.
All out war.
Non-headlining band that I'm really stoked about this weekend, probably Leeway. They were actually my first real hardcore show back in 1989 was seeing Lee Way open for Bad Brains on the Quickness tour. So like having them play the fest now, it's just kind of like really special for me.
My first answer would be All Out War, but that might not be true. I love Death Threat. I mean, I love Madball, but we just saw them over in Europe like 2 weeks ago, so I was stoked to see Death Threat and All Out War a little bit more. I like, you know, I like seeing bands. I've been in there. I've been here since noon today when the first band started, and I've been watching almost every single band. So you know, but let's just say All Out War.
Eaten Alive, Descent,
Bane, Juke High, you know, gotta represent Long Island hardcore.
Activate, Strength Approach.
I'm an old guy, so not headlining for Slapshot, Murphy's Law, Leeway. But I also checked out yesterday like Truth and Rights for the Eddie Leeway project. Pretty awesome. Echo Strike, I didn't know before. They were great.
Treason, Risk It. This show is so stacked.
I'm always here for Wisdom in Chains. I could watch them probably every day of my entire life.
Queensway, Trail of Lies.
I mean, there's a few of them. Descent.
I don't know. I always love Wisdom in Chains, so I'm gonna have to go then.
Malice at the Palace, it's always great to see. Jesus Peace.
There's so many bands.
Does the internet help or hurt hardcore music?
Jesus Christ.
There's so many levels to that question, it's really hard to begin.
The internet doesn't help or hurt hardcore. I think in the long run it actually helps hardcore. Social media actually helps society. I know that's not the popular answer. There is a certain romanticism that is gone. The flyers, the underground aspect, discovering bands in a new way, to new mediums, the fanzines, that's all gone. I get it, and that is missed, but the social media lets awareness and increases knowledge and lets people in the know. So I think in the long run, it's actually a good thing. What happens at the end, I don't know. We'll see.
They both on that. Like, it enables bands to get their material out to like a larger audience at like a higher speed than, you know, at the origins of hardcore. But at the same time, it just like opens up like a medium for people to spew out all the shit they want to, complain, fight, argue, and talk shit about bands while doing nothing.
I feel like it hurts hardcore. There's too many lovely PC warriors out there for the rest of me. Agreed with that one too. I think it helps as far as exposure goes, but definitely hurts because everyone gets their feelings hurt and everyone gets all emotionally involved into things that don't actually affect their lives.
I think it helps it a lot because when we were kids, you couldn't get into new bands unless you went to a show and got a flyer or a compilation. So the internet, as negative as it could be, you could totally like get all the positive out of it by getting all this music out to everybody all over the world. I think that's really cool, and I wish we had that when we were kids, even though the internet kind of sucks sometimes.
That's a strange question. Well, back in the days, we had no internet. We had to make phone calls and writing letters and everything. So I think today's it's quite easy. Even for me, I can book tickets, I can book flights. So I would say it definitely helps.
The internet hurts hardcore. Really fucking bad. Oh man, I go on like tangents about this shit. Everyone's so all about like trying to be cool online and trying to get like the most retweets, likes and shit and be like internet popular, but like yo, there's life outside of hardcore. Like how about actually like doing good shit, like involved in the community as well, and not just like saying something really fucking dumb that gets a lot of cool like tweets and shit. Like, come on man, there's more to life.
Does the internet hurt or help hardcore music? I think in some ways it hurts it, but I would like to think overall it helps. Depends on who you ask, but I think overall it helps.
Does the internet help or hurt hardcore?
Tough question. A little bit of both, I'd say. Definitely pushes people to analyze everything super intensely, which is completely unnecessary most of the time. And it starts a lot of shit, which sucks. But it gets music out there. It makes it really easy to find old music, new music, all kinds of stuff. So a little bit of both.
I'd say a bit of column A, a bit of column B. Like, you get on those forums, it gets pretty shit talky and pretty, I don't know, irrelevant. So, but then I guess finding out about shows and this is hardcore and things like that, really helpful. Or else I wouldn't know about it. So yeah, I can't see a poster in New Zealand, you know, so have to look on the internet.
You know, I'm gonna say that it helps. When it comes to the caliber of how much you can play music, the amount of attendance that you can get at these fests, it's better than handing out flyers back in the day. But I'm gonna say the internet helps more than anything. It gives everyone much more of an opportunity to kind of broaden their spectrum of listeners.
Does the internet help or hurt hardcore music?
I think it helps in a way, hurts in a way. It helps get the word out in a cheap, it kind of levels the playing field. You don't need the big labels and stuff like that, publicists. But it hurts in the sense that it brings in this new, really delicate, easily offended element into the mix that used to, you know, it didn't really exist here before. It was sort of like, hands were always up. There was always like an anxiety and a paranoia in the scene. And now it's kind of, you know, the only anxiety and paranoia you have to worry about is saying the wrong thing on the internet.
It hurts it, if you ask me, because, you know, now you can Facebook Live things and people don't have to come to shows, you know what I mean? But on the other hand, it could kind of help it a little bit because you can get your music out cheaply, like Rich said, you know what I mean? But I think it hurts it mostly, though. That's just my opinion.
You agree with Rich?
I always agree with Rich. I have no choice.
Do you think the internet helps or hurts hardcore?
In 2000, I would have told you that the internet helps spread the word of what hardcore is to other people. But what has really happened with the internet is that the walls of the underground have kind of kept taken down. The roof over the underground has kind of taken down. And although, you know, we've had a bigger group of people be exposed to our culture, they're also coming in not understanding some of the actual cultural values that we have. They don't understand some of the long-time traditions. So I don't think it hurts, but I think it's necessary for people who come in now to understand, although easy to be accessible to you, there still is a lot of culture in this. It's been around for, you know, 35, 40 years at this point. And it's important to respect the culture beyond, well, I found this internet song, so now I'm a hardcore kid. It's a beautiful thing to see so many people come together of every race, religion, creed, sexual orientation to support hardcore and the good nature that it is. Yeah. And it's also disappointing when you then go on the internet and people who aren't immersed in our culture are taking pot shots at her like, well, I went to 3 shows, so I know everything. And this is something that young kids do, and some older people that didn't grow up in it don't come to find out that there's a real life social culture. Like, this is our family reunion right now we're at. You know, this means a lot to a lot of people. So as much as hardcore has been benefited by a bigger audience, sometimes a bigger audience takes out the value and the meaning for so many people. But something like This Is Hardcore reinforces what This Is Hardcore, what hardcore punk means to a lot of people. Yeah. A lot of people come 9,000 and 3,000 miles away for a couple bands. So it's an even thing. I just think there has to be more respect.
Both, to a degree. It helps it in the sense that it makes everything easier to access. Everything's a lot more accessible now. You can just go on your computer, click, here's this band's record, here's this band's tour dates, here's what's going on, here's who's doing what. At the same time, I think it takes a lot of the fun out of it in the sense that you don't really have to work as hard anymore to find stuff like that, where like back in the day you would just like read some band's thank you list in their record and like be like, oh, who's this band? I'm gonna check them out. And you know, same deal, or just go to a show and maybe watch a band that you haven't heard of or haven't seen before, whereas now kids are either too cool to like watch bands that don't have the hype train rolling behind them already, or don't care enough to like check out something that maybe they haven't heard of. And I don't know, and there's that, you know, then there's the whole, yeah, the internet, anonymous or otherwise, just shit talking and shit posting and just dumb, immature bullshit, spreading rumors, talking shit, blah blah blah. You know, nobody wants to talk to each other in person anymore, in bad or good ways. Like you could be, you know, Facebook friends with somebody and walk right by them at the show and not say a word to them, like I don't know that person, but you're liking their fucking pictures every other day on the internet. It just takes a lot of the socialization away from it, I think. And I don't know, it's got ups and downs, advantages and disadvantages, and you know, I guess you just kind of gotta roll with the times and take the good with the bad and make the best of it.
Does the internet help or hurt hardcore music?
Both, obviously. I mean, it can be such a beautiful thing, but it can be such a vicious, stupid thing too. So I don't know. That's too deep of a question for the word on the street.
How can we make the fest better? Jesus Christ. That's the trick, isn't it?
Really, honestly, this is my utopia. Every time that I go to This Is Hardcore, it's my vacation, as I'm sure it is with everybody. The only thing I could ask for was a sushi burrito truck.
I don't know, man. 100 Demons and All Out War's playing. I'm really fucking psyched.
How can This Is Hardcore get better? I definitely think there needs to be diversity in bands and representation, but I think that's like a problem with many fests. I think that it is making progress in certain regards, but there's always more work that can be done.
How can This Is Hardcore get better? Fuck. I don't know, twice a year.
E-Town Concrete playing.
How can This Is Hardcore get better? If I can break the snow cone record this year and hit a solid 20, I feel really good about it.
We say that every year, like we'll be like, holy shit, we pulled this off, look at this crazy lineup, everybody had fun, this was great, we did it, you know, and then it's like, shit, now what do we do? And that's what we spend the better part of the next year trying to do. So I have 2 more days left of this one. Ask me again in 2 days, maybe I'll have a different answer for you. Right now, I kind of got the blinders on, so we'll see.
I don't really know. I can't really answer that question. Like, Joe has been doing this at Hardcore for how many years now? Was it 11 years or something like that? Like, he would probably know better than me. You should probably ask him that question.
I think that the smartest thing This Is Hardcore needs to do is either compact itself down to 3 days so that way we don't wear people out. I think that would help because 4 days is a really long time. Other than that, we have to be mindful at all times that there's newer bands we have to keep bringing in. It's not just the old bands, it is some of the newer bands. And I'll be continuing to work hard to make sure newer bands are a part of the lineup.